Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. Welcome to That's Pride, your weekly dose of queer news, topics, culture, and discussion. I am Ryland Cavell, and you can tweet us at That's Pride to have your say. On tonight's show, we'll be taking a look at a couple of the latest LGBT headlines, as well as talking about an event that we are hosting in the very near future. Joining me and Ashley Talbot are two of our regular contributors, Lydia Burnsmeyer-Rollo and Junior Maxwell. How are we all doing? Are we feeling good?
We are feeling good. It's nearly Friday, so...
It's nearly Friday. It's Monday, Lydia.
It is Monday, yes.
It could be nearly Friday.
You're wishing the week away.
I am
You just want to be out there partying, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
It's like, depends where you define the weekend, though, because maybe it starts again on a Monday evening.
Just after it's
See, my weekend is Thursday and Friday, so for me, it is nearly the weekend.
Oh, fair enough. That's fine. No worries. But yes, I don't only produce and host this here queer televisual show, I also do the same for a similarly themed radio show and podcast. The sister show of That's Pride is The Gay Agenda on Fab Radio International, which is Europe's #1 online radio station, broadcast from here in Manchester. On the 26th of February, The Gay Agenda and That's Pride are joining forces to put on a live audience experience at the renowned Frog and Bucket Comedy Club. If you're after tickets, they can be found via the Frog and Bucket website. Each of us will be bringing a different issue to the fore for you, the audience, to discuss. It's your chance to get your face on TV, on That's Pride, and your voice heard on The Gay Agenda on international radio. Are we excited, everyone?
It's going to be super and...
Super colourful, super queer, super intense as well, a little bit.
Probably, judging by what... Because we've been discussing the things that we're going to be individually addressing, aren't we?
Yes.
And, there's some weighty themes,
Absolutely.
I would say, but we're a fairly sarcastic bunch of queers, so they may well be weighty, but that doesn't mean that we have to treat them that way.
It's incredibly varied as well, what we will be speaking about as individuals. I'm not going to reveal what we're all going to be speaking about, but from what Ashley's doing to what Lydia's going to be speaking about and myself, it's completely different, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Yeah, and I think there's quite some weighty topics, but I think the way to address it is with irreverence. This is a serious topic, but let's take it from a sideways angle. Let's see what we can, throw at this, tip on its side slightly. So I want to dive into a little bit about what you're talking about, so those people at home know what to expect. Because there's a couple of surveys that you two have put out to get some feedback before you address particular topics. Lydia, we'll start with you.
So my topic is misogyny. Something really, really light-hearted.
Light and fluffy, rainbows and daffodils.
I do love a little bit of fluffy misogyny, or everyday feminism as it's called, and everyday misogyny as it's called.
Are you tired? It's fine.
I'm very tired. It's been a long day.
Long week.
A long week, indeed. It's already Monday. So my topic is misogyny within the queer village, within the queer community, and it came about because I had an experience where something happened in a local bar that I was not expecting, that made me feel very uncomfortable, and stopped me wearing a dress for like a month afterwards. I realised I'd just stuffed it into my hamper and left it there until yesterday when I finally wore it again because I felt so uncomfortable by this experience. And so I thought, I'm not the only person that's experienced this. There's no way I'm the only person who's in a bar and has this experience from a gay man. So I put a status up on Facebook and got a lot of mansplaining back, as is to be expected. And it made me very angry, and I said to Ryland, can I do a 4 minutes of fury on misogyny in the gay village? And Ryland said, actually, I think that this is, it deserves a proper discussion point, so why don't you cover that topic? So we've put a great little survey on, which we'll be sharing on Twitter and on Facebook, and I'll be sharing it on my own Twitter and Facebook, asking you if you've had those sort of misogynistic experiences in the village. Anything from, being mansplained to physical sexual assault, it runs the whole gamut. And although it is very serious, I'm the sort of person that sort of says, well, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So don't think that it's going to be really, really weighty and I'm going to get my big feminist flag out. I will a little bit, but I will keep it very, very light because, and like you say, irreverence is the best way to face these issues head on.
Absolutely.
And it's worth pointing out that it's not just for Manchester's gay village. We're talking about the LGBT community
as a whole,
and anybody can fill these things
Absolutely.
in from anywhere in the country or all over the world. So, you know,
and
just thought that was important.
That's a really good point. It isn't just about Manchester.
One little place.
My personal experience happened in Manchester, but I am interested in finding out if this is happening everywhere and to what extent it's happening. You know, how much it's happening in Trump's America, for example.
Oh God!
And again, it's not just.
Who had 5 minutes in talking about Trump? Who's won the?
If we start, I won't stop. But when you told me that story initially, I had no idea it had such an effect on you that you couldn't. Well, you felt like you couldn't wear a dress for a month afterwards. Yeah. That's so sad.
I bought this dress brand new and it was lovely. This wool, and it wasn't like clingy or low cut or anything. It was just a nice dress, and I just couldn't wear it. I didn't want to wear it again because it made me feel like I was back in that place. And
we have to point out as well that the survey isn't just for cisgendered lesbians. This is for women of all kinds from the queer community.
Absolutely. It's
it's on SurveyMonkey. We'll be We'll probably be tweeting it out,
sharing it all kinds of places.
Like Twitter
now on Twitter. So.
But I mean, Junie,
I'll put it on my site for you too.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
You've put out a survey as well.
Yes.
So tell our viewers a little bit about that and if they can fill it in.
I'll give you a bit of background first. I think people expect me to be predominantly speak about HIV. So it's not solely about that, it's actually about sexual health in general and how mental health can link in with your sexual health as well. So there is an ongoing issue at the moment where people are trying to contract HIV or any other STI on purpose.
It's called bug chasing colloquially, isn't it?
The definition for it is called bug chasing.
Sexual Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
But I can't imagine the outcome being as fun as having a full Pokédex.
No.
Do you know, I was so worried about presenting this to the audience because we have got to make it humorous, haven't we? But I'm definitely going to use that.
A gift for you.
What was I going to say anyway? People are going out there, they're trying to catch HIV. Some are successful, some aren't. Some people use it as a form of self-harm. Some people may just have a low sense of self-worth. And so they act in a reckless way and they try and get it. Some people try and get it just to rid themselves from the anxiety of...
That's the thing I've read recently, where people were out there deliberately trying to contract HIV so that they would then no longer be at risk of contracting it, they just have to deal with it. It was that initial fear that was more powerful than the fear of actually having it at all. Which I thought was the odd way round.
Which is why the End the Stigma campaign is so important.
No, it absolutely is. And I have to point out as well, there are dangerous individuals out there that are targeting these vulnerable individuals and quite happily passing the virus on to them. And I've reported 2 individuals now within the last year who've been setting out to do this to people, and some of them have been successful in doing that as well.
That's terrifying.
It is.
I know,
and there's a lot to unpack from that, isn't there?
There's some sort of sexual fetish, some sort of sexual turn on. Like, I appreciate we all have different fetishes and sexual desires, and some things that other people might regard as weird might turn some of us on. But I think when it comes to your health, it's a completely different kettle of fish. So
absolutely.
I think this needs to be addressed.
And so the survey that you've put up is collecting people's experiences of bug chasing specifically, or are you just trying to...
It's basically... Well, I don't want to target it based on people who have only been to the sexual health centre. I want anyone that's been affected by their own mental health, people who might know somebody else that's been affected in some way by their mental health, or people who may have had an STI or feel like they're too scared to go into a sexual health centre and get themselves checked out.
It's quite a broad survey.
Very, very broad, yes. A lot of the questions, though, are directed at people who have already been to a sexual health clinic. And we are trying to gather information about how much these sexual health centres are taking into account their mental health as well. Because when you go in, they ask you about how many people have you slept with, what drugs do you take. At any point, do they ever ask you,
how are you?
How are you? Are you all right just in yourself?
Yeah.
And then maybe they can just refer them to a counsellor or a sex therapist.
there does seem to be a lack generally of this idea of joined up thinking. Everyone's working in silos. And so I was having a conversation just today with someone who is struggling to come to terms with their sexuality, whilst also being having severe mental health problems. One is kind of causing the other, and she is really struggling to get help. So I was referring her to the right places, but it's so difficult to know where those right places are.
Yeah, it is.
And as well, when they are sort of decompartmentalised, you have to go to them for that and to them for something else.
So here's 12 phone numbers, phone them all.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But what you need is well, like 1 or 2 that deal with all that.
The whole
package.
Run the gamut from, everything.
We've got 1 minute left, so I'll give a quick insight, Ashley, as to what you'll be discussing.
What next? So we've got here in the UK and in a couple of other countries worldwide, we have marriage equality now. Woohoo! Cool.
Huzzah!
Yes, great. Are we done?
Oh, hell no.
Oh, no.
Heck no. So, I mean, I sort of want to explore that concept, particularly in the face of Trump's America and May's Britain and all of the alternative facts and so on. All that entire landscape is something that the LGBT community, like it or not, is kind of going to have to hunker down and defend itself against.
For at least 4 years.
There's a lot coming up that we need to, and batten down the hatches, but we have to take a small break, unfortunately. Yes, break is coming imminently, so pop the kettle on, give us a tweet. We shall be back with the latest LGBT headlines in just a few minutes.